Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. This episode of the Mark and Martin's Revolution is brought to you by Vodcast TV, Johannesburg's premier shared podcast studio platform. If you've ever wanted to host your own podcast for yourself or your business, there's simply never been a better place to do it than right here. Visit vodcasttv.com/revolution now and get yourself a discount on your first order of a podcast or podcast series. My guest today is voiceover artist, actor, and entrepreneur. He simply keeps doing things. His name is Kuhle Nkosi. Kuhle, welcome.
Hey, what's happening?
A revolution is a fundamental and relatively sudden change in political power. An organization which occurs when the population revolts. This is the Marco Martins Revolution, powered by Vodcast TV. Visit vodcasttv.com for more.
Dude, two things. Number one, I'm angry with you. I'm so fucking angry at you.
Sorry, bro.
I've been in a suit all week. All week. And then today I'm like, it's cool. We're going to have this little
Casual
conversation
Friday.
about summer relationships and holiday season relationships and things. And then the guy comes in a suit. And here I am I'm never like this. I'm hardly ever in a cap anymore. I'm hardly ever in a...
I'm hardly like this.
I know.
Freaky Friday.
So, but you could have just told me. That's the thing. You could have been like, I understand you came straight from meetings, whatever. But it's like, just say, hey, I'm coming dressed like this.
Yeah, no, my bad.
Be ready.
I should
So
have.
I'm angry at you, but it's okay.
I'm
I'll
sorry,
forgive you.
doggy.
The second thing is that I think this is going to be the last podcast with you and I as a Marco Martins Revolution, because we really need to do something that's more you and I. And I think the reason I'm bringing this up here now is that I want you, the audience, if you're viewing this or listening to this and you've enjoyed our content, please engage with us on social media or in the comment section below. On what you would like to hear from us. We want to actually sort of build something. We want to strategize for something in the new year and perhaps bring you some content more regularly as Kuhle and I, because we really enjoy doing this. We really enjoy spreading the message of our views and our opinions, and we hope that we do it in a way that's helpful and beneficial to other people. So we want your opinions and your views and things while we're busy constructing the strategy for how to go about this in the new year.
100%.
So engage in the comments, social media, you can find us. The links will be in the description, etc. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about summer relationships, and this is something I brought up with a dear female friend of mine yesterday, was the idea that, or my perception, completely personal perception, that when men and women are starting new things, like you're in conversation phase, the talking phase of dating, let's call it dating. And it comes to this period of the year, men are starting to try shed a little bit of the seriousness, and women are sort of trying to secure things for the holiday season. They're trying to lock those things down. And she was in extreme disagreement with me. She was of the opinion that it's not a men and women thing, it's everybody's trying to just like shed those toys. Like she put it in the best way. She's like, application period ended 1st of October. Like if you weren't secured by 1st October, you're not in. Like, come back next year.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're not secured, you're not in, come back next year. Because people don't want to be attached. First of all, it's too early in your relationship, in your talking relationship, to plan vacation style things, right? For your holiday. It's very early. Like if you've not secured something.
We're in situationship season,
That's for sure.
And that's from having essentially, I guess, put in the work during cuffing season,
Yeah.
which is winter. So I think now
no one wants to cuddle in summer. It's too hot.
It's like, I think now where people are, like what your friend was saying, is if you haven't arranged something, then tough luck, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can't you can't be in a relationship, so it's like, situationship season, because
I get you, especially if you want to go away somewhere, right? You can't include people in your plans for going away somewhere. So if you're trying to go to Cape Town after Christmas for a week and a half or 2 weeks.
See, a situationship can't get mad. If I say I'm going to Cape Town.
I'm going to Cape Town.
Yeah, she can't be like, so you're not going to vibe. It's
and
like...
because you don't want to go down attached, right? You want to go, if you're going alone, you want to go unattached.
Well, yeah, I mean, look.
Right?
I think the reality is, look, I've been there. Relationships, like strong relationships, get done in by December.
Like December can hurt. Yep. Like even something that's got some stability in it.
Look, I don't know about other countries. I've spoken to other people from other countries, and you have to be in South Africa to really get it. But like South Africa, like December is, how do I put it? It's a lifestyle.
It is South different Africa. Here, right?
It's not. I think like other places.
I think it's a factor of two things. One, obviously, it's our holiday season because of the Christian past of this country, and a lot of the corporate holidays were built around Christianity. So that's the Christian holiday season combined with summertime is a big deal. I think that's one of the biggest factors of it. And then in European countries where they share the same sort of holiday season vibe in this time of year, but it's winter. So you don't have that summer holiday vibes. They do that in June, July.
Yeah, because here,
actually, August, I think, is actually the more popular time. But anyway.
Here, like, people lose their minds in December, And leading up to this discussion, I've been thinking about it, like, what the dating life looks like from a racial perspective. Like, I don't know what dating's like within the white community. You Twitter and social media will sometimes have you thinking, or at least me as a black person thinking like, oh, you see people slandering the opposite gender and you'll think it's a black thing. And then you jump onto certain forums and there are white women going on about like white guys, and then white guys make up majority of incels on Twitter and therefore ever slandering women. So then you're like, okay, it's not just a black thing or a white thing. It's like male, female,
Yeah, and I'm
speaking within the confines of hetero relationships. I can't speak for anything else. But I think what's and I was asking myself, like, what is the situation? Like now, I've been single just a little over a year.
Yeah.
And it's like asking myself, would I want to get into a relationship? And then I was thinking, would I want to get into a relationship now? And I was like, no.
Now's not a good time.
And then I was like, now? I was like, hell no. Like, there's no ways I could get locked down into a relationship now. Like, I don't even have the intention.
Reapply in January or what?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I don't even have the intention of fucking around. It's not like I'm trying to be a man whore or anything like that. It's just the last thing that I want is in December, where anything pretty much goes. Anything could happen.
Can I tell you how deplorable I am? Can I admit to something really horrible now? We're going there. It's even worse than what you're thinking. I just don't want to get stuck with a Christmas gift bill that's unnecessary. Like, you don't want to be buying a Christmas present, bro. No, like a girlfriend level Christmas present. Now, I'm sorry.
No, because the other thing is, there is that whole confusion, There is the whole thing of like, how serious are we? And sometimes the worst thing you can do is get into a situationship leading into a specific season. So like Christmas or Valentine's.
And then there's family photos.
We're a situation.
Yeah.
But now Valentine's is around the corner. Do I get you something? Do I not?
Valentine's Day, I think you should get people stuff.
Even if you're a situationship?
Yeah. Not something crazy, but like flowers are nice. For anyone that you care about even a little bit around Valentine's Day, flowers are nice.
But your situation.
Yeah, I understand. I
Shouldn't-
understand that. You know what we should be doing is we should be normalizing flowers in general all the time, so that Valentine's Day is
Doesn't
not
it
a special
confuse
thing.
things?
Only for people who want to confuse things. Don't confuse it. I'll give flowers to just my friends. Like we should just be giving people flowers. Flower industry, please sponsor this podcast. Anyone in the flower business.
If we normalized it, cool. I feel like
I understand what you're saying. It's not normalized. And the reality of the situation now is
Yeah.
like, he gave me flowers. What does that mean?
or like now you're saying Christmas. I buy you a Christmas present.
What do you buy?
You know, then you think, oh,
Hmm.
because he bought me a Christmas present, now this means, and it's like,
And then you also have to be careful with the type of Christmas present you're buying, right? Buy a teddy bear and it's like, oh, cute. It's a teddy bear. That's not anything crazy. Buy jewelry.
do women go through this? Do women like find themselves in the same conundrum? I mean, as the recipient, I'm sure she could be like, like, why did you buy me this?
Yes.
Like, you know,
that's what I thought you were asking.
But
But
like-
as the recipient, women go through. Men, we don't even think that what we've bought has a meaning. There's very few of us who are like, I should buy her this, and then they will do every algorithm, every calculation on the planet, receiving a gift as to what this gift means.
But I guess this also speaks to hookup culture. And I know like a lot of my female friends, the thing that they've, brought up is the whole thing of hookup culture and how more and more men are looking to just generally hook up. They're not looking for relationships. And I've
I
thought
found
about
that's
that.
less so this year than it's been in the past few years, especially post-COVID. I think this year's been a lot of, I hear so many stories of guys who have gone hard. It's like, listen, I'm looking for a wife on the first day, and the girl just like shivers and shakes,
Look, I mean,
comes to a complete stop. It's like, I've not met you. Like,
I do know
my name's Derek and I'm looking for a wife. It's like,
No, look, I do
Slow
know.
it down,
I
Derek.
do know guys that they are looking for something serious, but I mean, by and large, I still hear a lot of women complaining about guys coming with the intention of just hooking up, and I had to think about myself, and I was like, do I want a relationship? Would I be open to being in a relationship again? And honestly speaking, like I'm turning 40, all right. I'm 40 in 4.5 months.
getting up there.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, okay, turning 40, and I don't have any children. I'm still young, and there's still so much that I can do, right, in life. I look at some of my friends. They got children, they're married or whatever, and I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah, you were
children.
When I met you, you were practically a married man with kids,
Basically,
just not your kids,
just not my biological
biological
children.
kids. But they were like your kids
Yes,
in a big
I
way. When I
raised
met
them.
you, you raised those kids in a
Yes.
big way.
So I know what it's like
Yeah.
to be the husband, the
You
dad.
do.
Like I've experienced that life.
Yeah,
And as rewarding as it is,
yeah.
it requires a lot of sacrifice. And now I'm at this point where I'm like, I can see the trajectory that my career and my life path is taking.
I was going to ask you, and that's the first word that came out of your mouth when straight after sacrifice was career. And that's sort of the main thing, right? Is there's a lot of career sacrifice that comes with this family man life.
Oh yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Now where I'm at, I mean, I've said in the past pods that we've done, I took a bit of a knock, and so I've had to re-up. I've had to like re-strategize, rejig, rebrand and everything. But now I'm able to kind of see the trajectory. I can see the path, where I'm headed, and it's exciting for me. And I ask myself, do I actually then want to get married? Like, would I be okay being the 45-year-old bachelor? I know my mom wants me to have a baby, right? And I would love to have children. Like, I know I make a damn good dad. I've done it. Right? Question is, do I want to do it again? And I guess this is where the societal dynamics, the male
Family pressure.
advantage, because we can't deny the advantages of patriarchy. As a man, I'm in a position where I can say at 40, maybe I'll just take a 5-year break. I'll revisit children at 45.
Yeah.
I could. Whereas
Women don't have that,
a
luxury
woman,
necessarily, from a biological child standpoint, at least.
No, and
But there
so
are various options.
one of my, like a female counterpart who's my age, right? One of my peers, one of my friends, wouldn't have the same luxury to be like, oh, let me just wait until I'm 45.
Concentrate on my career for a bit and then
Concentrate
have
and come
kids.
back to thinking about
Yeah,
children.
right.
So that's the thing. I mean, the dating climate, and I know we're talking about like the summer hookups, but I think one of the other
We can
reasons,
generalize.
I think one of the other reasons why, at least for me personally, I'm averse to commitment, especially like summer commitment, is the dating climate, where I don't know what it's like on the white side, but it's a mess, man. It's a serious mess.
I think
so.
it's
I think
a mess for
hookups for a lot of people, not just men, but hookups for a lot of people are an easier, safer option, or situationship, because it's like I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm not fully committed, and I don't owe you. You don't owe me. I don't need to put blind trust into you.
I think there's a few obvious benefits from that standpoint. Is the one is that girls are flirting with you right now through the window. I told you. This is why I'm so angry with you. Look how you're dressed.
It's the suit.
It's the suit. Damn it. No, but seriously, the obviously the advantages are there to be seen. It's the luxury of intimacy, the luxury of human connection, and the benefits that you get from that, from like a deep primal sort of standpoint, is the values that you get from touch, from affection, from romantic conversation, things like that. Without the commitment, without the emotional baggage, or at least the emotional commitment, the vulnerability, you don't allow yourself a vulnerability, so there's no more risk of the pain that comes from a breakup that you were emotionally invested in deeply. So there's various benefits to that. The other benefit to it is that it's like I keep my shopping window open. If someone better comes along, and you start putting, this is where it's dangerous, is you start putting valuations on human beings, right? Is that it's like this game of leagues.
Shout out social media.
Shout out social media, right? It's the game of leagues. Like, she's out of my league. He's in my league. She's like, I can do better than her. I can do better than him.
She thinks she's better than me.
Yeah, a girl who's gotten really pretty this year because she's been working out all season. And then that's the suit. Why are you walking past the window 3-4 times? Come, okay. I need to put the name of the podcast on the window so you can watch, and then you can reply in the comments why you walk both ways through. You don't need to reply. We know why you're walking past the window 3 times. The light does look good on you, though, dude. I must say, you're looking very dapper. The suit is very good. You wear a suit very well.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah,
and that fade is tight. Everything.
Yeah, she was cute though.
So angry. She's very pretty. Nice smile.
No, that shit did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
do you want to leave? Do you want to go chase her down? No, I'm joking. But I think that's the thing, is that's maybe one of the ways that you look at it when you explain it like that. It's like, that's not a very nice thing to be saying. It's like not a nice thing to be like, I'm keeping my options open because my valuation on you as a human being means that perhaps there's something better for me.
Look, it might not be nice, but I think at the same time, it's not necessarily what we prescribe to or subscribe to, but it's acknowledging that these are variables, these are dynamics that play, to some degree, at hand within the dating world. Just as, sure you've also seen them TikTok vids or whatever, where some woman is talking about what she's looking for in a guy, and it's like, you've got to pay for this, and you gotta be able to get my hair done, pay my rent, and for me, I'm watching this and I'm like, like, you're not looking for a boyfriend, you're not looking for a partner. What you're looking for is like a sponsor. You're looking for someone who's essentially just going to be like your benefactor, because what am I getting out of this? But end of the day, I'm not your target market.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna like slander that
I don't know,
person.
in that suit, you're looking like the target market, my man.
No, never that. Never me. But my thing is never. I'm like, it's not my place to slander, right? It's not my place to go at a woman who wants that. That's her choice. And there's a guy out there who's willing to provide that. Just as there'll be guys who will look at the situation like you've just now, articulated, and be like, out of my league, this, that, and third. And the reality is like, when I look at myself, I'm like, I'm not a bad looking guy or whatever. But there's times where there's certain people who, I check out on social media, look at on Instagram and stuff, and I'm just like,
Hey,
no.
Not
Like
for me.
find myself in the DMs and I'm busy like, putting something together, then like I catch myself and I'm like, no, let's backtrack. Like, what are we doing here? Like, who do you think you are, and why are you in her DMs? Like, let's just pull this back a bit, player. Like, you have no right talking to her, And I mean, sometimes it's got to do with confidence. Sometimes it's got to do with what a person is putting up, and you're then able to say, I think there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I think sometimes it's actually necessary and healthy, where, especially for men, I think sometimes we need to actually hit the pause button, right? Look at who you want to actually pursue. Look at the woman that you are trying to shoot your shot at, and just be like, let me go through her page. Let me just sit there and just take it all in, right? And if you see that she's sitting, there's a video and she's inside a car with leather seats, and you can see the stitching, and you don't even need to see the name. Just the stitching of the seat alone tells you, okay, this is a car that I can't afford right now, right? You see her, she's at a beach, and it's a beach that you've never been to. We're not talking Cape Town. We're not talking Durban, right? We're talking about like, this looks, the beach
looks like some Dubai palm
like,
trees,
like the white of this beach is whiter than what I'm accustomed to.
Yeah.
This looks Maldivian. Right? Eventually you need to be like, so you're out here eating oysters and caviar, and you sitting in what looks like possibly a Bentley with the stitching. I can't afford that. Maybe I need to just dial it back and get the fuck out of your DM and leave you alone. And leave her alone. Leave her alone. I have no problem doing that. I will assess and just be like, looks don't mean shit here. I'm not the target market. I can't. What am I going to, like, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'll end with this. I was seeing someone at some point. Beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Very successful.
Yeah.
Very, very successful. Way more successful than I am. To most men, and I'm not gonna lie, at the time I was not ready for that, man. It wasn't about, I've got no problem with a woman doing better than me, but at that point where I was in my life, I just wasn't ready. And so I'm like, okay, if that is your thing, you're like, screw it, I'm still gonna shoot my shot. Then ask yourself, how am I going to provide? Because that's big on a woman's list, right? On most women's lists, at least. How am I going to provide? And if she turns around and says, no, it's okay, I don't mind being the breadwinner, how are you going to cope?
With that, yeah.
Her saying, hey, pack your bags, we're going here. Are you okay with that?
Are you humiliated by the thought?
Because I know there's some guys who are like, what? Fly woman and she's buying me a car? Like, that's the dream.
Yeah. Trophy boy.
It sounds nice.
Trophy husband.
It sounds nice.
You know what the thing is, and I agree with you, and it probably is nice. I don't feel as though I have any problem with that. I think what would be the issue is the growing concern that you have, just like this nagging issue that you have behind you, that the idea that she's better than you because of her financial or professional success is more so than yours. And you look at it statistically, the number of marriages that end in divorce where the woman is professionally more successful than the man in a relationship. The number of those relationships that end is very high.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very high. The marriages where the woman has greater professional success than her husband, the divorce rate's extremely high statistically.
Look.
And I suppose it makes societal sense when you look at it. It's almost odd. It's obscure and I think women are very good at shopping up. We were talking about this like thing, and that's why I was laughing so hard at what you were saying. And you brought up a lot of financial things, which I think you need to look at in yourself. That I know a lot of women do care a lot about what a man can provide financially, but I felt like you were talking to freaking like every girl I speak to, all the guys in her DMs. It's like, brah. You should be at Checkers, bro. Go to ShopRite. Like you're shopping here at Woolies, bro.
But that's the
where are you shopping? Where are you shopping?
But
bro?
that's
where are you shopping?
That's the thing.
It's not just about your financial thing.
Oh no, 100%.
Are you funny? Are you intelligent? Are you good looking? Are you suave? Are you charismatic? Are you charming? Are you
Look, there are a lot of women who are willing to overlook the financial status between yourself and her. Right?
Yeah, but you need a lot going for you, right?
If you take other boxes, right?
Yeah.
But this is the one thing that I'll say is being with someone who's better off than you, being with a woman who's better off than you will allow you to see the fragility of the male ego, right? I have been in a position where I've, a couple of times I've dated women that were financially doing better than me, right?
Yeah.
And other times it was whatever, right?
Who had the bigger issue with this, you or her? Because I get the sense that you're the one who had more issues with being less financially successful in the partner.
It wasn't even so much about the finance aspect of it. It was more with the one specific person. I just wasn't in a mentally and emotionally at a place where I was ready to deal with her. And I could just also kind of see that power dynamics, there's little things subtle, in a very subtle way that gets kind of like put in your face, like, I'm doing this and I've done that for you. Where it was like, I'm going to be at your mercy. But yeah, I guess to an extent, part of that also came from fragile ego, where being used to being the provider, being used to being the, the earner, the higher earner, it did have me questioning certain things. And that's what I'm saying, that it will allow you to see the fragility of the male ego. It's not all sunshine and daisies. Like, it's not all rainbows when you're with a woman who's making more money than you.
I agree. I think one of the biggest factors, and I want to defend women here because it makes it sound like we're accusing women of only chasing one thing. I'm not saying you are. But one of the biggest factors in this whole thing is not necessarily your immediate success, your professional success, or your current financial standing, but more so your ambition. I think women are prepared to overlook your current circumstance, your current situation, and things like that, your financial standing, your career success, things like that, if they see ambition. I think it's the lack of ambition that they see as very off-putting. I think ambition is a big thing for women, especially ambitious women, is that when they see a guy who lacks ambition, it's extremely off-putting to them. So it's like, oh, you lack professional or financial success because you've been in the same job for 15 years and haven't got a promotion because you don't care, because you don't work for it. You don't, you want to come home and play FIFA and smoke weed. And, you don't want to go and try and achieve your goals. You're not ambitious. So I want to defend women in that way, and I think that's actually an admirable trait. I think it's something that men sort of chase things like physical appearance ahead of things like ambition in general. In general, like mostly, right? I'm generalizing, but it's a vast generalization, vast.
No. I don't even think it's that vast a generalization. I think a lot of us men tend to throw pragmatism and practicality out the window
for physical appearance.
The physical, right? Yeah. So here she comes and she's gorgeous, banging body, right? All of that. Yeah. And they could be like, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. It's like, remember Bruce Almighty? There's a scene in Bruce Almighty where...
Is it the Jim Carrey one or the Jim Carrey one? Right.
So there's a scene in Bruce Almighty where, he's driving and he's like, oh, God, just give me a sign. And the radio comes on and a song comes on and it's the sign. And he's like, I just need a sign, Lord. And just keeps driving and there's one of these digital billboards that's, giving a sign. And he's like, God, please, why won't you just show me a sign? And another billboard is like, Bruce, stop. And he completely ignores all the signs and ends up crashing. And I think with men, often, humans, you can have 100 million red flags thrown in your face. Yeah. Right? But now you're like, ooh, but look at how beautiful she is. Look at her body. And you're okay, so she, she disappears every now and then, comes back with an incoherent story. But, who hasn't had the times where they disappear? You start making excuses. And you find a lot of times that men, we will do that, I've also seen it with women. But going back to your point about ambition, you're spot on. I was speaking to a friend of mine just 2-3 days ago about this, where she was taking account for the fact that she nearly let her relationship die, right, with her husband, because things weren't going as speedily as she would have liked. And she's like, she had to check herself, because she looked at him and she was like, but he isn't waking up and, chilling on the couch, eating cereal and jamming PlayStation 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. He's out there. He is pushing. He is working. He is showing ambition. For him yet, right? Yes, and that's the thing is, I think part of the issue of dating today is, outside of entitlement, there's a lot of delusion. And that's because of stuff like Instagram. You see the outliers, you see the 1%ers living this fancy lifestyle. And so you think, I can get that. That's the better that's out there. I can do better. There's always better. There's this chick, there's this guy. And you don't realize that for most people, whether they are, employed doing conventional 9-to-5 or entrepreneurs, it's a whole bunch of trial and error before it comes together, right? The average millionaire hasn't even made their first million before 40. But we tend to look at the 1%ers and say, oh, yeah, well, Tupac was a millionaire, 26. And it's Tupac. But, how many...
He also died.
Exactly. How many Tupacs are there? Mark Zuckerberg. And it's like, how many Mark Zuckerbergs are there?
Not zero.
Exactly. So we get lost in that, and then we think that is the norm. And so she was, saying how she had to catch herself and realize that her husband was ambitious, that he was driven, and she kind of pulled herself back towards herself, and eventually things kind of got back on track. So I think, yes, definitely women do get a bum rap, especially now within this whole gold digger narrative. Yeah. But the average woman, I genuinely believe, is able to overlook current financial status,
as long as there's a sign
if
of
you
ambition.
tick the other boxes, like I said earlier, and they can see that there's ambition.
Right.
I think with men, actually, we generally tend to ignore more of the criteria needed, and go more on superficial, superficial reasons to be with somebody. If anything, men are responsible for the gold digger culture. We're the ones. Well, let me put it like this: men with no game,
Men with money.
men with no game
Yeah.
and money,
And money.
right? Because I've always said, if you've got game, you don't need to use money to impress somebody. Right?
What's game, Kuhle? Okay, wait. First of all, there's a few things that I want to address. Guys, first of all, if you're looking to start dating a girl, because like we were saying earlier, there's a lot of guys who actually want something serious. And you're in the talking stage of a girl, whatever. Right? If you're talking to a girl, one of the things you have to ask her, so first of all, there's a type of girl that you see on Instagram or whatever, and you see she's always posting with a group of friends, 4 or 5 girls, always posting, always out, and there's posts, whatever. 2 of those girls have kissed each other. End of story. That's how it works. That's white girls. They go out.
Okay.
There's like 6 or 7 group of friends. They've gotten drunk before they've kissed each other.
I don't know.
Now, if you're flirting with one of those girls, what you need to do is ask her if she's kissed one of her friends on a drunken crazy night. If she hasn't, you have no chance because December is her time. It's coming. She needs to. This is what girls need to do. This is what white girls need to do. Let me just tell you. Okay, guys, I'm
I
talking
don't
to you.
know.
Ask her which of her friends she's kissed on a drunken night with a dare where some guy's like, hey, you guys should kiss. Okay, I'm crazy. I'll do that. I don't care. They will do that. And December's her time. It's her time for that. Give up. Hang up your boots. Pull a Ronaldo. Go on Piers Morgan. Get your contract cancelled. You're done. You're done. You need that to happen first because otherwise you're out the door.
Look, honestly, I don't know about all of those dynamics. I mean, I know that even with some of my women friends, we've spoken and they're a lot more explorative and they have, fooled around or hooked up with other women.
100%.
Right. I think that's because women are just a lot more open with their sexuality than men are.
And also women are more attractive than men. The most attractive man in the world is less good looking than the new girl at school.
I don't know.
Remember the new girl at school? She didn't even have to be hot. She was just new. That was all that she was just new.
No, I mean, look, I think look, bring it back to
being something serious.
To the
I'm
whole
sorry, everyone.
No, to the whole dynamic of like the dating setup. Like, how do I put it? Most people, I would like to believe, do want to have a relationship and all of that. I think we are now in a time as a generation where people are scared. I would be lying if I said a part of why I'm okay with being single wasn't
fear-based.
There's fear. Like, given some of the stuff that I've experienced, I'm just like, I'm good.
You know what's happening right now? I have to interrupt this because there's a girl sitting here watching this, and you look so good in this suit. And you're such a nice guy. They've seen the first 2 episodes. You're intelligent. You're articulate. You're a nice guy.
Thank you.
You look good. And there's a girl listening to you say, there's things in my past and I'm scared of like putting myself forward. There's a girl listening to this saying, these women who ruin good guys.
No, but
These women who ruin good guys. There's someone listening to this right now. She said that and now I'm saying it. She's like, what the fuck?
no, but look, to that.
Yeah.
I will say this. Because we that narrative gets thrown out a lot, right?
Okay, I shouldn't say why do women ruin good guys? Bad relationships. Why do bad relationships ruin good guys?
But for me, I'll put it like this. I think that there's the saying, hurt people. And I'd be lying if I say I haven't hurt people. One of the reasons why I'm single is so that, I can heal and not hurt anyone if I find myself in another relationship.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, it's like, man, if you were going to do that shit, you were going to do that shit. Right? There reaches a point and a stage in your life where you're of a certain age, you can't use your past relationship as an excuse. I'm like, oh, my ex did this, so I have unresolved. It's like you're an adult.
Yeah, hold on to that forever though. It's a good excuse.
Well, yeah, you're an adult. Like you can't,
Yeah.
I can't be like, yeah, well, my girl did this to me, so that's why I ended up, getting involved in a train. Like, like no, I got into a train because that's what I wanted to do. I can't use my ex as an excuse. So I think, like, there's nothing wrong in acknowledging that there's fear, and I have to work on that, as to not project that onto the next person, right? I feel that men and women, having done events for almost 10 years on a weekly basis, we're very much alike, more than we would like to acknowledge.
More than we're different.
Oh yeah, like when I'm speaking with my people, and they're like, oh, men this, men and that, women this, women that. Like, you see it on social media all the time, right? Women do this, men do that. And I actually took a stance beginning of the year, and I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm not engaging in the whole men this, women that thing, this gender war thing, because having done events, and I'm talking about having hosted thousands of people, where it's like foot traffic, hundreds and hundreds of people walking in and out just one day alone, right? I did this for 7-8 years. Men ain't shit, women ain't shit. There's so many people. There are so many people out there where you're talking about, oh, men cheat, women cheat.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Now, with that said, I'm not saying all men are shit and all women are shit. I'm saying we're not different. So figure out what you want. I think the thing is if more of us were honest and just said, I'm not looking for a relationship. What I would like is to just have casual hookups. Are you okay with that? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Okay, move on.
Respect that.
Right?
Yeah, the honesty element is huge. It's the people manipulating people is the worst part of all of this, is the lies and the deceit and the manipulations, right? That's the worst part of all of this. And I think every person's guilty of a little bit of it at the very least, right? Every human being is guilty of a little bit of the manipulation, whatever, whether it's out of fear, whether it's out of lust, whether it's out of whatever it is. I think that as much as the problem with this narrative that you've just put forward, and I think it's something that we all share and we all perceive and we all see, we have to be careful of shitty human beings because they exist everywhere. They exist everywhere. We were having a religious discussion before the podcast started, and it's like there's always going to be individuals in every group, in every organization, in every religious sect, in every country that's going to make those people look like shitty people because of individual shitty people that make up a percentage of everything. There's a percentage of human beings who are just shitty. But the reason I hate that narrative is that it's actually a small percentage of human beings. I find most people I interact with are lovely. I like people. I like most people I meet. Most human beings I meet, like most humans I meet, I say hello to. And you know what the crazy thing is? Joburg is the most diverse place in terms of the human emotion with our interactions with human beings. I saw a guy walk into another guy, like bump into another guy, walking into the dressing room of the gym the other day. And they bump into each other and they both smile at each other. Oh, sorry, man. Oh, yeah, cool. Have a good workout, bro. Yeah. Two people who don't know each other walked into each other by mistake. Super friendly interaction. Like the most friendly people. We bump into any stranger as South Africans, especially people here in Joburg. You bump into any stranger, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Hey, like a really nice interaction. Then we get into cars and it's the complete opposite. We're the fucking worst in cars, people in Joburg. There is no, please, you go first. No, you, sir. No, you, when we bump into you. Oh, in a car, my man, you go first. Okay, fuck you. I'll go first twice. How's about that? Fuck you. Fuck you. As soon as we're behind the wheel of a car, we're horrible. But in saying that, most of the time, human beings are great. It's all my favorite stuff in the world comes from humans. You know, like computers, content, YouTube.
No, you're not wrong.
Video games, football, you know, all types of sports. Human beings make the best stuff. I love cars. I fucking love cars. Human beings made cars, bro.
You're not wrong. But I think, the thing is what you're speaking to, right, is the human interaction, right, a social dynamic that is separate from intimacy and sexual relations. And I think when I'm saying...
But even that,
divorce is higher than marriage now. We've gotten to a point.
No. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine.
But why is divorce higher?
Because people make mistakes when they get married. It's fine. And you know what the thing is? The divorce should have always been higher than marriage. Because you should have to try 2, 3, 4 times to find your person. It shouldn't be straight away.
Cool.
And the thing is, divorce didn't happen in the old days, not because people's marriages were good or because they respected and loved and appreciated each other. It's because they had few opportunities to leave. Yeah. And that's why divorce, and I think divorce probably should be higher than marriage. I think people should just be more, as soon as society changes its requirements for marriage, where it's like, oh, you've been dating for 6 years, you should be married now, you should do that. As soon as that pressure drops off, I think people would get married less often and then marriages would be lower in general. And I don't think that the divorce rate would be as poor. I think we're finding our way as society. And let me just apologize to women for like their sexual interactions, because the number of women you hear talking about, I'd rather just not, because it's not a good experience for me, because I don't achieve orgasms and I don't. So like you're talking about intimate relationships. So that's why I just thought I'd bring that up. Yes, I agree. Maybe there's not that many great interactions with human beings, like humans. People are awesome videos on YouTube. Like people are always like people doing backflips and stuff and whatever. People are awesome, but yeah, not all the time. There's not that many people who can do 4 backflips and all those.
Okay, so look, what you just brought up now in terms of like sexual performance and satisfaction in the bedroom. I think by and large, you just got to go onto social media. Like now there's this trend where guys are trying to even like promote and champion, poor performance in bed. It's like, I lost the 2 minutes. Well, I got mine off. At the end of the day, like she must get hers. I think
that will always be good as a joke, though. That'll always be funny. But if you tell it as a joke,
but that's the thing. Going back to what you just said about the amount of women that complain about lack of satisfaction in the bedroom. I think by and large, a large number of men are inconsiderate in the bedroom. Yes. Now, when I'm saying men and shit.
Any human being that doesn't put effort into what they're doing is going to achieve very poor results.
Now this is my thing. I think that's also separate from when I'm saying men in shit, women in shit. What I'm saying is you'll get people going on about how, men are dogs, men cheating, men infidelity. And I'm like, I went to this therapist one time, couples therapist, and she was like, by and large, the woman cheats first.
In relationships, in long-term relationships.
Yes. She was like, the woman will cheat first. And more often than not, more than what you would think is common, the man actually forgives. He just doesn't forget. Then he'll go and cheat, but then
we're talking about physical infidelity. Yes. Because like emotional.
And he won't stop, right?
Because women are definitely more prone to, when they're upset with or they're feeling unappreciated or whatever, they will flirt. Like right away.
But this is my thing. I think that this is what I'm saying. Like, there's no real difference. Like, if you're in a long-term relationship, right? And like, I've been there. Long-term relationship, and it's got to the point where we're at the end of the road. The relationship is toxic or whatever.
It's dying.
Right? It's dying. And I've held on for as long as I could. I haven't been, adulterous or anything of that nature. And then somebody comes along. I'm not immediately just, unzipping my pants and jumping into bed with that woman. I'm also getting to a point where I'm getting familiar. There's a familiarity that's being built between myself and this person, and then there's some flirting. And so from an emotional standpoint, I begin to cheat, right? And whether the physical action happens while I'm in the relationship or as the relationship has ended, there's been that. I think, the narrative that, all it takes for a man to just cheat is for somebody to invite him in, is an antiquated one. I think it's played out. I think a large number of men, if you speak to them, will tell you that I'm lacking this, that, and the third. I feel like I'm not seen or I'm not heard at home, right? And so the narrative is we just go out and cheat. When the reality is like women, there's an emotional lack. There's something missing that leads to the infidelity, right? Now, like I said, having hosted events, I've seen them like multiple different cases of people cheating and how they've gone about cheating, right? And that's why I'm like, we're not that different, right? We're really not that different. Even the whole thing of women cheat because, they're emotional creatures. And I'm like, I know women that cheat on their guys simply because they're horny. Like, that's it. There are people who cheat because they're horny. There are people who cheat because there's an emotional lack, male and
how
female.
how much better is it that it's like, oh, you're cheating because the attention felt good?
Still cheat.
Like it's still fucking it's not
cheat.
admirable
Still,
that the attention
There's nothing
felt good.
admirable
That's
about it.
very narcissistic. It's like I got some attention from someone, so I cheated on someone who's committed to me.
It's still cheating. I will say this: the one thing I think the difference between men and women is women are just a little bit more astute.
Sneaky.
They're just a little bit more astute.
Say sneaky. Say sneaky. I want you to be attacked. Kuhle said sneaky. He said women are sneaky.
They're a bit more astute.
No, I hear you.
Whereas with us, we can be sloppy, right? Like a guy is more generally to as they say, shit where he eats, right?
He'll sleep with the secretary.
Or bring your mistress to the house. Right? Whereas a woman generally is not going to do that. And from what I've witnessed and what I've experienced, it will get to a point where when you catch the woman, it's generally because she's gotten to a point where she's okay with you finding out.
Yeah.
Right? There's dudes who, man, like there's homies I know who are who have been getting cheated on, guys who've been cheated on, and they are oblivious, don't have the slightest clue. But the narrative that you hear out there, by and large, is just men
are the cheaters
ones that are cheating. And I'm like, again, when you do events, right? Big difference between throwing an event and attending an event. When you attend an event, you're just there to have fun, right? All your inhibitions out the window, you're drinking, good time. Me as the organizer, as the host, I've got to be vigilant. I'm paying attention to so many different things. I've got to make sure that the patrons are having a good time. I have to make sure that, I'm in constant communication with my security, with my bouncers, make sure that there's no issues. There's someone over there who's looking a little bit rowdy. Hey, Wellington, just keep an eye on this guy. Make sure that he doesn't become problematic. Oh, one of the patrons has come to me as a friend. She's complaining about a guy who's been a little bit, harassing and everything. I have to go and deal with that. So I've constantly got to pay attention to multiple things. So in that, I'm able to see how men and women end up interacting and how they behave. And that's why I'm able to say that by and large, and this is a case study of having watched thousands of people over almost a decade, that we're not really that different. I think we have been preconditioned and to a degree also have, the desire for a serious, meaningful, emotional relationship that has us manipulating or, giving people some sort of misconception that you're looking for something serious, because there's this moral clause that says hookups are wrong and you're a dog if all you want is sex. And I know people, I won't say who, I know people who get into relationships for the sake of sex. Like I look at it, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you believe that you like this guy, but the reality is this is like third or fourth relationship this year. And the only reason why you're doing this is because the term casual sex is dirty, right? So you're now in a relationship for the third or the fourth or the fifth time so that you can say to yourself, I'm not doing anything wrong. And I'm like, none of it is wrong if it's what you're okay with. Maybe if you just stripped away the moral clause that's been, put there by religion and or whoever else, that you're able to say, look, man, horny, want to get my rocks off. Hey, would you like to have sex? And she's like, yeah, I would like to have sex. Very much, thank you. And then, cool, bang, 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 right? You go do the deed. Nobody gets hurt. I think sometimes people go in with good intentions, thinking that I genuinely do want a relationship and I don't want to hurt Marco. But the reality is you're just fucking horny. And maybe looking for like a 1 month thing, right? It's not just about a one night stand.
As long as it's not December the month.
But you're not looking for a relationship. But now you've given this person the perception that you are. And you don't know how to go about telling them that actually all I want is sex because you think you're going to be seen as a bad guy. When the reality is the deception that you are now laying out, right?
It's worse.
Intentionally or unintentionally, that's even worse. And that's what ends up having you being a bad guy, So that's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen women get into relationships where I'm like, I feel like you're getting into this because society will label you a slut or a whore, right? If you said just, hooking up. And as a guy, you're doing it because you'll be labeled a dog or whatever. When the reality is there are a lot of people, and all you have to do is just go club culture to see just how many people are willing to throw away all the respectability politics of hooking up, of relationships, right? When the lights go dark and they think that nobody's looking. And that's why I'm saying, when you've hosted events long enough, you will see the bare instincts, the raw elements of humanity where people just want to hook up. And so come December time, why don't you want to be in a relationship? Because at the end of the day, you know what a relationship entails. And the truth of the matter is, all you're looking for is a good time. You're looking for somebody that you can hook up with for like a month, 2 months. And February's come and we both have an understanding that we're either going to go into February and it's going to escalate, or we go our separate ways. Society has painted this narrative that all of that is so wrong, right? And that the honesty of it all is like depraved or something. When the reality is too many of us, men and women, do this shit for it to be a lie, for it to be wrong. Just rip off the Band-Aid and just fucking own it, man.
On that bombshell, don't buy anyone Christmas presents coming up for the Christmas season. Speaking of the Christmas season, remember to drop your comments below. Give us your thoughts. Give us your impressions, what you'd like to hear more of, etc. I know that it almost sounds silly. It's like you guys give us the content that we want. We sort of want to, and we sort of will sort of do our own thing and talk about what we want to talk about. But we are trying to strategize and do a show together. And Kuhle and I are like extremely excited to get about this and to bring it to you in the year 2023. For me, for now, Kuhle, thank you so much for joining me
Next
more
time. Suits.
Next time, we're both wearing suits. Okay. that might be a theme. Let us know if suits needs to be a theme. Kuhle looks so good in a suit. I think it must. I think we have to wear a suit every podcast. But hit us up. Kuhle, thank you so much for joining me.
Sweet, doggy. Thank you.
if you
I'm sorry, no, I'm interested to hear what people are going to say about, what's been spoken about now.
today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Comment, please leave your comments below. We will try to respond to them. I will forward them on to Kuhle when I receive them and when I do see them. For me, for now, it is goodbye. Remember to visit vodcasttv.com/revolution and get yourself a discount on your first order of a podcast or podcast series. Of course, all the Marco Martins Revolution episodes are powered by Vodcast TV. For me, for now, it's goodbye.